What's up, Kenra Professional? I'm your color ambassador, Lo Wheeler, and I'm super excited to be here with you for another color YouTube episode. Today I have my beautiful friend Sophia with us, and I'm so excited because you guys all know how easy it is to work on a color virgin, which is what Sophie is. She used to have long hair. Now it's short and it's a clean slate. So in our consultation, we talked about the phases of lift. So our agreement today is basically to have an introduction of some subtle dimension with a bright pale money piece. And as we see her through the next several sessions, we can build that color. How we're gonna achieve a soft foundation for multiple sessions moving forward is with a combination of balayage and foil work. I'm gonna section out the front of her hair for a bright foily money piece, and then we'll do a global balayage to just introduce color. Let's get started. Here is my front diagonal sections. What I'm gonna be doing is using my favorite lightener, blue powder lightener, plus 20 volume. I'm gonna create a large slice here and here to create a bold money piece. To make each section really easy, I'm just gonna divide it temple to ear and take a really fine slice. And the reason we want to use slices is because I want to create high impact with minimal placement. As you've probably noticed in other tutorials that you may have seen from me on this channel, I always like to start in the front, probably 9 out of 10 times, because what has been super trending for so many years now is that boldness in the money piece area and that bit of extra lift and pop. So because I am putting these slices in first, that's giving us extra time to get that nice poppy lift. I'm gonna move to the next section and then do a slice around her whole hairline. And just taking the tip of my color brush, I'm just feathering into that root transition. Now for the next section, over each slice, we're going to do a soft tease and then build some color down towards the ends for a beautiful transitional money piece. Creating a slice and then a tease creates just a little bit of naturalness in between this bright area. Now we're going to take the following section and do a nice fine slice again. I love this approach because especially when you have new clients that have, a big goal in mind, you want to present all that extra brightness, and this is just a great way to bring this to your design. I've sectioned Sophie's hair in nice big sweeping diagonals because we're going to now start to open air paint with 30 volume Kenra Professional blue powdered lightener. And I really love this approach because automatically by foiling this and doing the application first in the front, we're going to have a bright pop. Now for the whole back portion of the head, we can really get through this application quite quickly and create a really high impact, caramely, buttery blonde. My goal for this section is to think about the color before I start laying it on. So I'm dividing the main section into two. I would like a high point for balayage to be here, because if I set it right here, there'd be no naturalness left because it's too close to the money piece. So in this section, I'll put this away. In this section, I'm gonna drop my balayage much lower. So it gives almost like a low light tip out effect. And then the next following one, I'll go a little bit higher. To do this, I've bumped up my developer to 30 volume, and I have a nice clean brush, and I'm gonna sweep this lightener over the section as I hold the section nice and taut. Now I'm gonna direct the section close to where it's gonna fall so I can really see the placement that I'm creating. As I'm getting towards the bottom of the section, I'm just gonna open up my hand and paint the surface of the section. The underneath of this section is gonna stay natural, but the flow and direction and angle of the section is going to create a really soft, blended, diffused piece of lightness. We're gonna copy this placement on the other side. So for this section, I'd like to start my blonding a little bit higher so that we have, you know, some movement in our placement. So we have the money piece, and the tip out, and then now back up to the high point of the supporting piece. So what I'm gonna do is hold my section tight, a little higher so I can have access to this part of the hair and just really be able to create a clean placement. Okay, so here's a little overview of how that supporting balayage will complement that foily money piece, and we're ready to replicate that same approach in the next sections going back. This next piece is going to feel similar to the first balayage section that we created, with more heavy coverage through the mids and less at the base. I really love taking large diagonal sections because even though I'm sweeping through the sides, if she were to put her hair all the way behind her, this would fully cover the back section of her hair. It's kind of like taking the toll road versus just a regular section. It's kind of cheating a little bit because you get so much coverage with the diagonals. And instead of just laying it down, I'm just going to lightly position the piece. While I have this sectioned up, I'm going to create a bridge piece and then work up from bottom to top. Now for this section just above this, I'm taking a good 1.5 inches width, and now I'm going to separate it into 2 pieces. And what I want to create with this last section is another high point and connect it to basically a mirror image low point, just because it's lower. I'd say all in all, I would love to see the balayage process for another 35 minutes, possibly 45, just depending on how the lightener continues to lift. Basically, a marker for me to end the processing time is tapping the section and noticing whether or not the product is completely dried. So even if it's before 45 minutes and the product has dried, you can go ahead and rinse. In this case, we'll just keep our eyes peeled and keep a time for about 45 minutes max. We're back with Sophie's result, and it looks so beautiful. It is nice and bright and poppy. And as we look through her hair, it's soft. It makes sense with her base color. And to tone this look, we did all over 9 PV, which is a 9 Pro Violet. I really love this Demi-permanent toning glaze for 9 out of 10 of my clients. It's just really, really versatile, and it doesn't overtone really, really light pieces of hair as it neutralizes other levels of color throughout the whole body of the hair. It's a no-brainer. I always use this formula, and for the root, we smudge with a 5N. Rule of thumb for me with choosing a shadow root is choosing a color comparable or a shade darker than the natural base. That way the two colors melt together and you don't lose any richness. So overview is 5N at the roots, 9 PV all over, and this is our result. If you love this YouTube tutorial, please watch my other episodes right here on Kenra Professional's YouTube channel and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I'd love to see what you have to say about this look.